Welcome to the Performance Enhancing Podcast. It's like steroids for your brain. A podcast for people looking to live life at their peak potential. Chock full of real-world tools and knowledge that you can apply in your life today. By providing you with a lens into the lives, beliefs, practices, and actions of those who are already living extraordinary lives, the Performance Enhancing Podcast will help you shift your mindset or create that change in your daily rituals and habits so you can explode with success in the areas of life that are most important to you. So get ready for another dose of Performance Enhancing Podcast with SatoriPrime. Here's your host, Ilan Ferdman.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Performance Enhancing Podcast with your host, Ilan Ferdman. So if you haven't signed up to our PEP list to receive a recap email about this week's shows, make sure you head over to performancepodcasts.com. That's podcasts with an S at the end of it, so make sure you remember that. Also, if you haven't yet subscribed to our show via iTunes, you can also do that at performancepodcasts.com/iTunes. Or if you prefer to use Stitcher, you can do the same thing at performancepodcast.com/Stitcher. And remember, we have new episodes coming out every Monday and Thursday morning, so you can grab those then. Lastly, if you want to keep up with everything that we do at SatoriPrime, you can always head over to our main site, SatoriPrime.com, and roam around. We have a ton of free content that we constantly update. And if any of you are looking for some mentorship around your marketing efforts, and I'm talking specifically about Facebook paid marketing, on how you can use that to double, triple, or even quadruple your business, then we do actually have a couple of masterminds we run that can absolutely transform your marketing efforts in less than 90 days. So you can check those out by applying to see if you're a fit for one of them at SatoriPrime.com/mastermind. And with that, let's kick off today's show. Hello. Welcome back to another Performance Enhancing Podcast with Ilan from SatoriPrime. Welcome back, my friend. So I wanted to do, obviously I'm here at my studio for those watching on video. And the reason I wanted to do this, I was just actually shooting a video for something else. And this thought has just been constantly in my mind. I've actually been binge watching, and I don't know if that's like a global term or an American term, but binge watching means that you can just go through shows episode after episode instead of waiting for them to come out. So Netflix, which is really popular all over the world, I think, and Fanny and I, my wife and I, have been binge watching House of Cards. So we pretty much went through like the first 2 seasons, I think, in about a week or 2, something like that. Every evening we'll say like we'll watch 1 and we end up watching 2 or 3 at the very least. So this weekend we had some time and we literally powered through everything. Now the reason I bring it up is because House of Cards, if you don't know about it, it's a show with Kevin Spacey and Robin Wright, I think her name is. Regardless, Kevin Spacey actually just won the Golden Globe for it. It's a political show about a politician who's trying to work his way up through the ranks. And it's evil and twisted and really incredible if you ever get a chance to watch it. But one of the things that impresses me the most about Kevin Spacey's character, who is Frank Underwood, is his ability to understand humans, to understand exactly what to say and where to push to pretty much manipulate them to do anything. Now, I'm not saying that's an amazing skill, right? Like manipulating people, and he's evil by all stretches of the imagination. But his ability to offer people things and then have them, through the law of reciprocity, which is what I want to talk about today, provide him things back, or him planting seeds and then other people working off of those seeds as if it's their own idea. I mean, that's an incredible skill set. Whether you're in marketing, whether you're an influencer, whether you're a thought leader, these are things that are incredible to understand. And he comes at it from a massive educational background. It's not just he elicits this in people, he studies people, he understands how people function, he understands what makes that individual tick, he does crazy amount of background checks. But what I'm left with in absolute amazement over everything else is how he has the ability to give someone something And it's always with this agenda of getting something back. And that's the thing that I think upsets me more than anything. But at the heart of what he does, the fundamental rule that he's using, this law of reciprocity, is something that every single one of us should absolutely be aware of and absolutely be able to use. So here's what I want to share with you, because I had a recent experience and then I was like, oh my God, that was kind of like a Frank Underwood moment. I was out to dinner with a group of really successful entrepreneurs, and a buddy of mine is actually in the process of trying to start a new business. Now, he's shared this business idea with other entrepreneurs, other friends, etc. And everyone basically told him, oh my God, this is an amazing idea. Go, go, go. So he's been head down just plowing through this. Now, within SatoriPrime, one of my key roles is actually to have consultations with prospective clients. People that are either looking for us to consult them on how to help them build their business, or those that are maybe looking to use us as their Facebook agency or marketing agency. Now, I need to really understand the business, the numbers, how the business is run, where the business is going, and thereby, through that analysis, understand if this is a client that we want to take on or we send to one of our other competitors, right? So I'm talking to this buddy of mine who's lit up by this business idea, and rightfully so. It is a great business idea. However, what I like to do on these consultation calls is always bring people back down to reality. And I want to share a quick story with you guys about how SatoriPrime started, so you understand kind of this reality check. And I learned this from this mentor, this guy by the name of Aaron, who, when we started, we wanted to learn marketing not to become thought leaders in marketing. That was never the intention. Because for the last decade or so at that time, we had been coaching, life coaching, people around their relationship, their finances, their health, their well-being, and we loved it. And when we lost everything with my previous bank being shut down, the one thing that Guy and I asked ourselves is, well, if money was not an issue, if we weren't getting paid, what would be the thing that we would love to do? And both of us easily were like, we would love to coach people. We want to make that kind of difference in people's lives. So we hired a mentor with the idea of him showing us how to market our coaching business. Because the one thing we understood early on was we don't want to be those guys that build their business through word of mouth and rely on that. And I don't want to be hounding my friends and family and things like that to, hey, we started a coaching business. Do you know anyone that needs coaching? Totally lame. Like, never going to happen. So we sit down, we hire this guy who says he can absolutely help us. And in the first meeting, he says, Ilan, how much money do you want to make? And I said, look, I know this might not sound realistic to you, but I need to make $500,000 in the next 2 to 3 years. He said, okay, great, I got it. So how much are you going to charge an hour? And I said, probably about $250 an hour. He said, great. Okay, so I just need you to do some math, figure out how many clients you need per year to make $500,000. And I remember starting to do the math, and as I'm writing down the number, I just went, well, that's fucking impossible. Like, there's not enough time in the day for me to coach enough people to get to that number. That was a wake-up call. That was like a big reality check, because I think what happens to most people is they don't live in reality. We mostly create these amazing goals, but we don't actually look at what it would take to reach those goals. Some people say like, well, I want to make $10,000 a month. And I'm like, great. Do you know how you're going to get there? Do you know what product you're going to sell? How many products you need to sell to get to that number? And when people start doing that math, most of the time, it's like oh shit, I didn't think about it like that. Now, that might be deflating, but you got to deal with reality, because if you're not dealing with reality, then you're just setting yourself up for massive, massive failure. Because not even from the standpoint that you wouldn't have met the result, but the standpoint that you're playing a game that is unwinnable. Right? If I played that game to be a life coach and make that much money, it's an unwinnable game at those numbers. So I'm talking to my buddy, and I do the same thing with my clients on consultations, etc. I bring people down to the reality, and then from that, we can start building a strategy. Then you can start building a game plan on how to get there. You know how much money you need to invest. You know how many clients you need. You know what your marketing budget's going to be, right? That's a great place to stand and start building from versus just throwing out numbers. Now, he's building a product in the women, specifically those who are pregnant, and he wants to help them. And I said, did you ever look at how many women are pregnant in a year in the United States? Because most of them, I mean, will be in the US. And he's like, no, I did not. I said, well, how many do you think? And we went around the table and just surveyed people, right? I said, how many people do you think are in this country? And he thought it was something like half a billion. And it's not, it's about 300 million, right? So already we're at a disconnect. Next number, how many of those do you think are actually pregnant? And people threw out numbers like 20, 30 million, things like that, right? You look at the numbers, just under 4 million pregnant women a year. So of the entire population, you're talking just slightly over 1%. Now, he wants to build a big business. I said, how much money do you want to make? We started talking about that. And I said, well, realistically, of all those pregnant women, say you could reach all of them, you'd still be only converting at somewhere between 1% to at the highest would be about 3%. So let's go at the 1%. And we did the 1%, and we ended up with about 30,000 or so because we took off $1 million here and there just for, you know, people who are pregnant and don't have money to buy anything or any interest, right? So we just trimmed off the top. So we ended up with about 30,000 and then multiplied that by the total number that he'd be selling this product for, which was about $100. And then from that, now you have to subtract your overhead, your marketing costs, etc. And at the end of the day, you come up with a number. Now, I'm not saying that that number is ironclad and that's the only thing it is, because you never know. You might be able to build something that catches on like wildfire and it absolutely explodes. But statistically speaking, that is not in your favor, right? WhatsApp, I think, sold for something like, or Snapchat sold something like $19 billion. But that's one out of how many apps? One out of 10 million? I mean, I don't even know the numbers, but you can say that statistically, the chances of hitting a grand slam are not that likely. And so what you got to deal with is what the actual reality of the numbers are. And so rather than just plowing through in something that you think people want to buy, right? We always have these amazing ideas and like, I'm going to build this and I know everyone's going to want it. How do you know? Did you actually go out and do any research? Did you see if there's competitors who are selling something similar? Did you find something that might look like something who's being marketed to your ideal customer? Did you talk to them about their sales processes? Did you follow and maybe try to look at what their sales process is? Did you see how many sales they make a year? All of these things are tools. These are weapons. These are ammo that you can then use to actually build the business that you truly want. When Guy and I first built our very, very first Facebook product, before we ever built, we were looking at every single one of our competitors. I must have watched at least 10 video sales letters. I typed them all out word for word. I read them. I went through all of their sales funnels. I watched their email autoresponders. I mean, we really studied what was out there. We try to figure out how many sales they were making. We try to figure out how many people are on these people's list. How many people in general are there that would even be interested in something like this, right? Now, after we did all that, we launched, and guess what? We actually exceeded our expectation in what we'd be able to do. And that was basically the start of us becoming, quote unquote, Facebook gurus or experts that people reach out to when they want to learn how to market on Facebook. Now, it's amazing to take that first step, but it's much smarter to take it in a place where you know before you ever launch or before you ever offer some service that that's what people actually want. That's what people actually buy. I shared this before when I did a Cliff Note on Ty Lopez's podcast, and I want to bring it up again because it's really that crucial. If you want to understand what the market wants, Frank Kern has a very similar thing. It's called the 3-circle model. And what you're looking for is 3 things. 1, what is a need or want in the market? Okay? Then, 2nd, what is underserved in that market to serve that need or want, okay? So there's tons of Facebook products, right? Like, we're not competing with all of them. At the end of the day, like I've said it before, you're only looking for about 1,000 people to love you, and you can build $1 million business. So you don't need millions, right? You need your perspective to land on 1,000 people's ears in a way that really resonates with them. So sometimes this second circle is not the end all be all, but the third one is the most important. The third one is, what can you offer to solve the people's wants and needs that will come to you with ease? In other words, you never want to put yourself out there and try to teach something that you're not masterful at on your own, or doesn't come easy to you. That's going to make your day-to-day and your business really, really difficult. What you want to do is find something that you can easily deliver on, that solves one of these wants or needs, and ultimately is underserved in that market. You find where those three meet, you have a guaranteed winner. Then it's just a matter of doing some research and figuring out how to put it out there and how to market it. So right now, for those that listen to our 100th episode, you know that we just released our Mindfluence product, a 9-step process to handle and exercise your mind so that you can control and create the life that you actually want and are not just at the whim of how life comes at you all the time. So it's called Mindfluence. If you want to check it out, you can go to mindfluence.academy. No .com, just mindfluence.academy. It's kind of cool. There's all these different like things instead of .coms now. So we just thought Mindfluence Academy. So mindfluence.academy. You can see it there. We're in the process right now of putting the whole marketing around this, right? Like the lead up videos, the autoresponders, all that stuff. Now, as we do that, what do we base it off of? We base it off of other people's products, looking to see what other people are offering. How do we differentiate ourselves? How are these people communicating with their buyers that actually has them convert into sales, right? And that's what helps us build this sales process, this sales funnel that basically guarantees us sales. It's the same thing we do for ourselves that we would do for our clients. Because the worst thing that people do is they spend all this time and all this effort into something that then they bring out to the market, and it's like, well, no one really wanted to learn how to have their cat cut their own hair. I'm just making some crazy shit up, but you know what I mean? Like, just because you think it's amazing doesn't necessarily mean the market thinks it's amazing. Apple is one of those companies that they just don't give a shit. They say, you don't know what you want, we're going to show you what you want, and we're going to show you what you need. Now, that's a very difficult way to penetrate a market. That's a very difficult way to offer a service or a product. A much easier way is, like I said, figure out what the market is already asking for, figure out what you can deliver on that matches that, and see what in there is not really served in the market. And you pretty much have, within 99%, a guaranteed winner. Then it's just a matter of putting the packaging around it, putting the marketing behind it, and voila, you generate sales. So, why did I bring this up? Frank Underwood, right? Law of Reciprocity. So I share this with my friend. 2 days later, I get an email. Thank you so much. Because at the time, he looked a little like, oh my God. He was thanking me, but he kind of looked like, oh my God. I get an email from him thanking me, saying, amazing. No one ever sat me down and gave me that kind of feedback. You gave me so much to think about. And here's the line. This is like the Frank Underwood line. What can I do for you? I sat there and I thought, wow, pretty amazing. I gave to this friend of mine no agenda, no nothing. That's where kind of I very differ from Frank's theory on life, let's say. But the concept's still the same, right? He offers someone some assistance, something, and by the law of reciprocity, us humans, if someone gives you something, notice if someone opens the door for you, the next thing you want to do is open the door for them. You go to a bar and a friend of yours buys you a drink, what do? You buy the next round. It's called the law of reciprocity, and it's an amazing thing. But if you do it with a good agenda, right, of just offering value to people, it's the most powerful way to network, which is offer something to someone and just know that you don't need to expect anything in return. The law of reciprocity is always working. They will naturally want to help you. They will naturally feel like they owe you something and want to give you something back. Now, I didn't do that with him for any of that. But as soon as I got that email, I was just reminded of, wow, this shit really works. So if you want to really accelerate your results this year, think of how you can make other people's lives better. What do your friends call you for that you're really gifted at? Can you go out and share that with more people, whether in videos or blogs? And don't do it expecting anything in return. Just trust that it will come back to you. So hope you enjoyed that. If you haven't seen House of Cards, kind of highly recommend it. Really great show. But the major takeaway is law of reciprocity. Give, 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 give. And don't worry, it will always come back to you. Hope this has been helpful. Go out and implement this in your life. Let me know how it goes. Again, love getting your emails, by the way. Reach out to me, Ilan at SatoriPrime.com. Feel free and reach out to me, whether you need help around your Facebook marketing, whether you just want to share what the episode meant to you, what you've gone and done with it. Would love to hear from you. Till we speak again, have an amazing, amazing day.
Thank you for joining us on this week's Performance Enhancing Podcast. We've taken this pep talk and created a custom action guide so you know exactly what action steps to take now to grow your business. Just head over to SatoriPrime.com/podcast and download it for free. Also, please leave a comment and rate this podcast on iTunes. It'll help us get the word out. Thanks for listening. Now, go and implement. We'll see you next time.
Did you run through doors till you hit the floor? Did you read my eyes and my aching thoughts? Did you walk through walls till you had to grow? Oh my God, you're smart.